Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to our first house call of the weekend. Excited to be joining you here today and looking forward to answering our community questions like we do every single weekend, and we have done so now for over 3 years and 1,156 podcasts. Today is episode 1156. For all of the questions, to see all of the questions that were written for today and all of the links that are provided that coincide with today's show, head on over to 1156, stephencabral.com/1156. So on our shows, if you're new to our weekend house calls, we answer our community's questions. So what we do is people write in at stephencabral.com/askcabral, and we answer all of the questions as they come in on a kind of first come, first served basis. So the questions from today are coming in from January 20th and maybe like the 21st or so. But remember, and I know that's 10, 12 weeks later, that's typically the pace that we're at just because of the amount of questions we get in. Keep in mind that you can get your questions answered. If it doesn't have to be, if it can be by my team, you can get those answered almost the same day, within 24 hours, Monday through Friday, at cabralsupportgroup.com. It's just a Facebook group page. That's it. But it's a private group page for our community. We would love you to answer other people's questions or give your take or give your opinion or just support others. Like this past week, we had our community detox challenge. And every day I posted in there about, because I did the detox myself. Again, I do my own detox every 12 weeks. I practice what I preach. I do the fasting days. I continue to want to improve my own health. Continue to see how far can I take this? How great can I feel? That's really what it's all about. Because eventually you get well. You lose the weight and you say, okay, well, what else is there? It's about optimization. And that's what I'm excited about as well, really kind of diving in to all the different things that we can do to slow and reverse that aging process. So that is that. And you can get questions answered there every single day. There's about 5,000 other members and counting and growing, and they're all amazing people. And of course, I don't want anything in return. People ask me all the time, and I really appreciate that. You know, what can I do for you, for answering questions, etc., for your team? Just reviewing, well, honestly, just passing on the podcast to someone else is all I really would love you to do. Simply share the information with someone else. That's it. That's all. And it's all free information. But if you leave an iTunes or Google or any other podcast review for the Cabral Concept, I'm obviously deeply grateful for that as well. All right. Without further ado, let's dive into today's questions. First one's from Betsey. Betsey's writing in, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. I enjoyed your interview with Melissa Ambrosini a while back. I felt inspired to make changes and work with an Ayurvedic body type, or work with my Ayurvedic body type. I also tried your CBD oil and I enjoyed its effects. I'm currently scheduled to see Dr. X, I just put an X instead of the person's name, for Lyme, but I feel uncomfortable treating it with antibiotics because I believe so fully in natural medicine and natural living. I just heard on your podcast about the disease being gone, but that I need to detox. My nervous system is the biggest issue, which is why I'm hurrying to get help. It's difficult to breathe, walk, eat, speak, and think most days. I also have terrible convulsions regularly. I believe my body can heal on its own without the right tools, but I'm feeling rushed to get better circumstances. I'm considering canceling with Dr. X, and I'm curious what you charge for treatment when you'd be available. Thanks for all you do, Betsey." Okay, so Betsey, my goal is not to have everyone, really have to work with me or want to work with me. My goal is to give all the information away for free and to teach the integrative health practitioners, which you can find at integrativehealthpractitioner.org, give them all the tools available to work with people. And then, of course, my own health coaching team as well. The reason I say that is that, the older I get, the more, and sometimes I talk about myself like I'm 100 years old, but the more time I spend working with people, the more I realize that I can record a video in an hour or 2 podcasts in an hour and reach 100,000 people, or I can work with one person. Now, of course, working with that one person matters, without a doubt. But what if I can reach more people? So that's my goal. And so, you can work with me. There's no doubt about it. I have a waiting list, but it's better to simply order a lab at equilibriumnutrition.com, work with my health coaches, and I review every lab, meaning you still get my protocol. So for Lyme, without a doubt, you're running at least the organic acids test and hair tissue mineral analysis, the starter kit. Ideally, you're doing the big 5 with the stool test. If you can't do them all, that's okay. It would go organic acids, hair tissue mineral analysis, stool test for you, and then it would be the thyroid adrenal hormone, omega-3 and food sensitivity test. Okay, let's go into this a little bit more. Most doctors are using doxycycline and other antibiotics for Lyme. As a naturopath and bioregulatory practitioner and someone who believes in natural medicine, someone that does Ayurvedic and traditional Chinese medicine, I work with natural antibiotics. Now, again, in life-saving conditions, you should seek your medical professionals and help. There's a couple things to think about here. And I've given speaking presentations on this. One of them was to the Mass Lyme Society. Another have been webinar presentations that are not mine. I don't own them, so I can't give them away right now. But, I talked about the use of astragalus. I talked about the use of andrographis. I talked about the use of berberine. I talked about the use of oregano oil. I talked about the use of citricidal in helping as a natural antibiotic. Now, not pharmaceutical antibiotic, I'm not saying that, but a natural antibacterial. So I prefer a natural approach, but also just keep in mind, a lot of people have done the antibiotic protocol for 2 months. They feel terrible, just like you're saying, breathing, walking, speaking, etc. Remember, what happens is the antibiotics also destroy the bacteria inside the cells called mitochondria. So I said, not necessarily about detoxing, that's true, but what I said is the nervous system gets destroyed and the mitochondria get destroyed by using antibiotics as well. So there's a lot to look at. And it's also why I recommend, a lot of times the Lyme is gone. I just want to tell people, a lot of times the Lyme is gone if you did a natural or antibiotic-based protocol, but you still feel terrible. And that's because you have now a mitochondrial dis-ease of the body, something like myalgic encephalomyelitis, and you need to now repair at a much deeper level. It takes time. All right. So that's, you can go back for previous podcasts. You can run those labs. You can begin to heal the body. Stacy is up next. Stacy writes in first. Thank you for the amazing, informative podcast. I appreciate you spending so much of your time sharing what you've learned, as well as all the support of you and your team and members at the Facebook group page. I've learned so much. I recently finished my second detox and had very different results than most seem to. While I understand and recognize and appreciate that everyone is different, I want to go into what I have. Here's my question. I'm on Lexapro. Thankfully, it was the last prescription. I stopped taking 2 other antipsychotics, as well as my PPI, since doing your Candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol last year. Congratulations, Stacey. That's great. But about a week after doing the detox, I started to get a different mood. I noticed feeling sad or even a little bit more anxious. I also started taking Adrenal Soothe, CalMag, Activated B Complex, and she goes on with the list. I spoke to a health coach who shared that it's possible, but not entirely common, for the antidepressant to lose its efficacy during the detox. I have some conjectures of my own as why that could be, but I was also not able to find anything on Dr. Google. I did speak with my PCP. She said it was fine to do the detox. Bottom line, why might the efficacy of the antidepressant I take lessen after the detox? I want to feel it is necessary to do them in the future, so is there anything I can do to cope with it? That would be great. Well, so Stacey, the only reason, and so remember, and I remember this question actually, keep in mind that if my health coaches ever don't know the answer to a question inside of our Facebook group, they ask me. And the reason why they would know so many questions is that we get the same top 50 questions every time, which is why really I would write the question there. But let me go over this a little bit more. When you do a liver detox, a functional medicine detox, such as the Dr. Ball detox or another one, you speed up the rate at which your body metabolizes fats and toxins and removes them from the body. So when you do a detox, it's not that it's a bad thing, but it might lessen the effect of some of your medications. Now, that could be a serious issue if you're taking certain drugs that you don't want to lessen the medication, right? So that's why you want to talk about it. Like if you're on a blood thinner, talk to your doctor about it. And you were smart, talk to your doctor about it, right? But that's the reason why. But remember, it shouldn't last more than a week or so. And then you should, because you're off the nutritional supplements, so it should go back to being normal. So Stacey, hopefully by the time you're getting this question answered, you feel that normalcy again. But, it speaks to the efficacy of the detox. It really is what helps your liver process toxins. And keep in mind, medications are, of course, toxins. And again, I'm not saying that some people don't need them. They do. Of course they do. I'm not saying that. And I'm not saying that you should just drop all your medications. I say always this: get the body healthy, get your body balanced, and then see if you can wean off of those medications with your doctor. That's the smart way to do it. Okay. Thank you, Stacey. Tara's up next. Hi, Dr. Paul. Really appreciate all you do for our health. Did the 7-day detox last July. I did the Big 5 labs in August, and I'm finishing the Candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol this month. I'm about to do the heavy metal detox protocol at the end of the Candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol. Did another 7-day detox at the beginning of January, and now I'm doing the healthy gut protocol and the parasite protocol. Follow the supplements from your health coaches. I'm trying to do seed cycling because I'm estrogen dominant, and I haven't added back any of the foods I was sensitive to. I'm clean, following the protocol, fast 12 hours a day. I do the liquid shake for a snack in the afternoon. I'm working out, weightlifting, high-intensity interval training, plyometrics, running 6 days a week. I've been off all pharmaceutical drugs for 4 months. And for allergies, birth control, still have terrible facial acne. I usually ramp up the week before my period, and then I break out for 2 to 3 weeks. Then I have 1 week of clear skin before it starts all over again. I've listened to your previous podcast on acne, and you stated it's bad blood or poor gut, but I feel like I've already changed my gut and liver, and I'm at a loss for what to do. Can you shed any light on this? Yeah, this is really great. So thank you, Tara, for writing in. This makes total sense. Happy to answer this. So really good. This is like the perfect amount of information, not more than this on the house call, but I can answer this for you. So without a doubt, you've cleaned up your gut, sealed up that gut doing the 12 weeks of the CBO finisher. But this is very apparent. Like there's a 1-for-1. Your skin gets better. Let's just see here. I break out for 2 to 3 weeks. Let me go through this again. Terrible facial acne, which ramps up the week before my period. Okay, so that talks about the estrogen dominance. I break out for 2 to 3 weeks, and then I have 1 week of clear skin before it starts again. So you have a week of clear skin, maybe right around ovulation or so. And then during the luteal phase, 1 week or so before you get your period, then you start to get the acne again. Okay, so what we're looking at is you get a week of clear skin as you ramp up progesterone and as estrogen starts to fall. Okay, so what we need to do, and you did this before, we need to know why, and we need to do it as that body is getting that acne. So we need to run that, not even the thyroid adrenal hormone, although I would love that. I would recommend the thyroid adrenal hormone first. It's $100 extra, but you get the thyroid, you get vitamin D, which needs to be optimized for acne, you get your blood sugar. We need to check out blood sugar, but we also need to check out that estrogen dominance. Stay on the estrogen balance. If you're not on estrogen balance, you should be using estrogen. Well, I can't say you should because I can't give recommendations over podcasts, but I would highly suggest looking into using estrogen balance if you're not ever already doing that, right? So continue doing that. Continue doing your regular supplements. Make sure that you're doing at least 2 grams of omega-3 daily, and then run your labs that when you start to get the acne, 5 days or so, 7 days before you get your period. You have to get the data on this. If you're still estrogen dominant, we need to work on doing things that either block estrogen if your estrogen's high, or we need to work on increasing progesterone. So that's that is the way to do it. And so we can actually give you an item that will help increase progesterone, all natural, of course, or give you one that's going to start to block estrogen. But we have to figure this out. And again, if we're not testing, we're guessing. So for you, only one lab, we can do that. We can make sure you get your omega-3s, all those good things, not eating gluten, not eating dairy, all that great stuff. But let's get that tested, right? But let's stay on the supplements. Let's make sure that they're working, right? Let's make sure you're getting the effect. Because if the supplements aren't strong enough, well, we need to do more right now. But then also, we need to be careful. 6 days a week working out, high-intensity interval training, weightlifting, plyometrics, running. We might be overdoing it for the body. We might actually be causing a greater stress preponderance in the body, and we need to ramp that down. More yoga, more, less HIIT. I mean, like we just needed to experiment that for maybe 4 to 8 weeks. So again, life is about experimentation and figuring out what works best for you. If you're not doing the Integrative Health Practitioner program, I think you could learn a lot inside of that program as well. Thank you, Tara, for writing in. And thank you, everyone, for writing in, but thank you, Tara. All right, Ashley's up next. Dr. Paul, I want to say, first, thank you for all your helpful information you provided the community. I want to apologize for the long-winded question. All right. And I just want to thank everyone for the kind words that they write along with these questions. It means a lot to me. Sometimes I glaze over them, but that's simply because I don't take compliments well, but I certainly appreciate them, and it gives me a lot of energy to continue to kind of just keep moving forward every day doing a podcast. I do love it, but your comments really are the fuel for that fire to know that it's actually reaching people, that it's doing something. And in my own way, I'm trying to get back and help in any way that I can. So let's go over Ashley's question. I have a history of cluster headaches over 10 years. I get them every 1.5 to 2 years, usually triggered by processed foods, strong smells, so I avoid them as much as possible. I get the ice pick unilateral ocular headache twice a day for 1 to 2 weeks per attack, always a couple hours after sleeping. So I wake up, and then again the daytime at some point. Oh, interesting. Okay. I have to either inhale oxygen or rebreather. If I do not take 50 milligrams of Imitrex and pace around and get fresh air until the headache's gone, I can get worse. I tried searching podcasts for cluster headaches. By the way, there is a podcast on cluster headaches. I stayed away from the support shake, and then 2 months later, I added it back in, and just in case I was getting my wrong triggers, but another round of cluster headaches. I think I need to do a detox. I don't need to go any further. I just want you to know I've read your question and I understand it. And I'll tell you right now, the eye pick headache, right? As you get that, if anybody's ever experienced it before, it's awful. I've had it many, many times back in the day. It feels like someone is literally putting an ice pick or a knife right through your eye socket. It's awful. It feels absolutely terrible. And a lot of times, it's on the right side. These cluster headaches refer, just like you were talking about, the smell, the foods, or a toxin. It's not for everybody, but Ashley, we need to start somewhere. And I can't recommend enough. We need to detox that liver. You already said it. You can't handle the smells. You can't handle the processed foods with the glyphosate and all the pesticides. You need to literally follow the rain barrel effect of how to empty your rain barrel. The diet, the exercise, the stress reduction, the toxin removal. You need to do all of that. The saunas, the Epsom salt baths, like whatever you can do. And then you need to start doing the functional medicine detox. You might have to start super slow. You might not even be able to do the fasting days. But let's start at least the 12-hour overnight fast. We need to degunk, that's technical term, degunk that liver. We honestly need to remove a lot of these toxins from the body. Start slow and begin to detoxify. I can't recommend that enough, Ashley. Really, it's so important because I know that is going to be one of the major movers for you to start to get well. And if you have not run a starter kit, an organic acids test, and hair tissue mineral analysis, I can't recommend that enough. And here's why. You might have massive intestinal permeability that's only filling up your rain barrel even more. That's important. The second one is you might be high in copper or heavy metals, and we need to reduce those because that's only going to, again, fill up that rain barrel, lead to more headaches. Talking from someone, believe me, I used to get headaches every day, every afternoon. Brutal. Okay, one more question. Ryan, this applies to my success mindset aspect of my health. I want to ask you about the imposter syndrome. You mentioned many times how sick you were when you were young and that even until your mid to late 20s, you were relapsing every now and then. However, the whole time you were training and teaching people and seeing clients, et cetera, advising them on how to get well. I think this question would especially apply to when you were a young personal trainer and nutritionist and quite sick of yourself at the time. Did you ever feel the imposter syndrome? Did you ever feel bad that you were telling people to do this or that of how to get healthy when you yourself you were not? Sometimes I think I should wait and hold back to teaching certain things because I'm not quite there myself yet, even though I have the knowledge and can advise. What's your take? Should you push through and advise even if you have the knowledge or hold back until you fully healed in all areas? What would you change looking back? Thank you so much for all you do. Woo! Super, super emotional from that question, Ryan. And here's why. And it really hits me because people don't really think it. And I can see why, because, I just push forward and all of those things, but I am a super emotional kind of guy. And I remember back then. And here's what I did, Ryan. I had to deal with them myself because I was super sick. But I knew how to help people in many areas of wellness and body transformation and nutrition. So if it was someone, like I was very sick with essentially Addison's disease, myalgic encephalomyelitis, and a bunch of other things. But I had already gotten rid of the rheumatoid arthritis and the type 2 diabetes, et cetera, when I was in my mid-20s. So what I felt comfortable with, because I said, I'm not going to help anybody till I get well. I have to get well first. Well, here's the thing. That was a tremendous amount of pressure on myself. Tremendous amount of pressure. So I didn't want to do that to myself. I realized that. The second thing was, I met my mentor, and I told this to my mentor, and she said, not in so many words, because she was much kinder and much less blunt than I am, but she was basically like, yeah, you're out of your mind. You've read how many books? You've read how much research? You've already seen how many people? You need to start helping other people and to a much deeper level. Forget about it. Everybody has their own path, Ryan. One of the reasons, and I tell myself this, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. One of the reasons why some of us don't find our answer right away is that so we can continue to learn. It makes me emotional because the deal is this. I would not be where I am today. It has nothing to do with school. It has nothing to do with that. I read 3,000 plus books. I studied all over the world, and I've seen, tens of thousands of people. None of it would have happened had I gotten well right away. Because I'm like, oh yeah, well, hey, I have all the answers. It would not have happened. I would not have had a diverse background had I not dealt with so much. And remember though, Ryan, you learn the most by helping people you're not even able to help right away. So what you do is you stick with them. They stick with you, and you just say, listen, we're going to figure this out together. And you continue to research for them on your own time, and you learn and you help people. So remember that what it's all about is not whether you're well or not yet, but remember, the knowledge you have far surpasses the client coming to you, and it is your duty, and I would say like literally almost a moral obligation to share the knowledge you have. Because if you don't, someone might miss out on it. So Ryan, you need to get out there and start helping people immediately, as in tomorrow. And if you don't feel comfortable like I didn't right away, I made a compromise with myself. And I said, you know what? I'm just not going to help anybody yet with Addison's disease or ME or, something like that. But the truth is I still did, because I help people with fatigue every single day. And so I just helped them because remember, I said, okay, I know how to help with fatigue. I'm getting a little bit better. I'm not there yet. I have more to learn. That's okay. No problem. No one's expecting you to know everything. I don't know everything. I mean, so again, I'm looking things up. I'm researching. I'm saying, what's this person's take? What's this? So Ryan, get started. I'm telling you, get started. By working with people, you'll also begin to find more of your own answers. I found that myself as well. So keep pushing forward to anybody out there who feels like they're a fraud or an imposter helping people. Listen, I know a lot of people that are 20 pounds overweight helping people lose weight. Why? Hey, they want to be leaner themselves, but they have insulin issues, they have estrogen imbalance, estrogen dominance, they have thyroid issues. That's okay. That's okay. They're on their journey. And remember, people also feel you're a little bit more approachable. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about that, all right? Thank you, Ryan, for writing in. I appreciate you. Erin is up next and last. And the reason I'm just doing this quickly is that she wrote, hi, has Dr. Cabral ever successfully treated anyone with high-grade HPV virus? Thank you. So Erin, there is a podcast on HPV. Simply go to stephencabral.com/podcast and type in HPV. By the way, anyone can do that for any topic they want. And you can also just type in virus and you'll see a podcast I did on how we deal with viruses. So we deal with HPV and other viruses by using, and you'll find it on that podcast page, zinc, vitamin C, L-lysine, olive leaf, and there's others as well. But for HPV, we also add in reishi mushrooms. So you can work with me, you can work with another practitioner. Remember, Erin, everything I do, I give away as information to everyone. I want the world to know all of this information. It's not mine to hold on to. And also, one more thing I want to add is this. You always want to find out with viruses why your own immune system can't deal with it. Remember, look into functional medicine lab testing, either over at Equilibrium Nutrition or with a local practitioner or one of our integrative health practitioners. Remember, you need to find out why. Always begin to ask why. Why can't my immune system deal with HPV while other people can? Why my immune system can't deal with these herpes outbreaks, these cold sores, etc., when other people who have it can keep it dormant? Always ask yourself why. If you do that, you're going to eventually find the answer. Thanks so much for tuning into another Cabral Concept. We'll be back tomorrow answering more of our community's questions. Take care, everyone. Ever wonder what the best sauna, blue blockers, sleep trackers, wake lights, salt lamps, or other health gadgets are? Or what about the top non-toxic mattresses, sheets, soaps, bath products, toothpaste, and cookware? Or would you like to know the cleanest choices for hemp parts, meal delivery services, supplements, and much more? I personally curated, researched, and now created a resource page of all of my top picks that continues to grow each week. These are the exact products I use in my own life, with my family, in my private practice, and they're the ones I trust. To find out all of my up-to-date recommendations and all the details, simply head on over to stephencabral.com/resources.